The North Country's population has been stagnant or declining for decades. That means fewer kids in schools, fewer people to patronize local stores, and fewer volunteers. Even essential services like local fire squads are struggling to replenish their ranks. We talk with a 4-decade veteran firefighter from Malone on today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com. Securities offered through Hightower Securities, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Hightower is an SEC-registered investment advisor. And Kinney Drugs, now offering specialized home medical equipment and supplies. Learn more at KinneyHomeCare.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, September 9th. First up, New Yorkers can now get their COVID vaccine shot directly at the pharmacy, thanks to an emergency order by Governor Kathy Hochul aimed at removing federal roadblocks. Tim Bruno reports for the New York Public News Network.
Hochul says uncertainty over federal vaccine policy is creating a barrier to getting COVID boosters this year. Her order allows pharmacists to distribute vaccines without an individual prescription. Here's New York Department of Health Commissioner Dr. James McDonald.
This was important because the way the federal guidance came out this year, we had some people who didn't have an indication for the vaccine. So if you're otherwise healthy, you're one of the group of over 7 million New Yorkers who didn't meet their very strict criteria, then you would be getting the vaccine off-label. That's why we had to give the pharmacist the authority to prescribe the vaccine to you and administer the vaccine to you. So that's what was different. It's because the federal guidance this year, not only was it confusing, not only was it chaotic, it was very different than last year.
Under U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the FDA limited new COVID vaccines to Americans over 65 or with certain health conditions, unlike previous years when they were widely available. Dr. McDonald says he's concerned about growing public health misinformation.
Talk is cheap. Make America healthy again. That's a slogan. But actions speak louder than words. What I'm seeing is a systematic undermining of things that would make us healthy.
In Liberty, I'm Tim Bruno for the New York Public News Network.
Border Patrol agents made multiple arrests in the North Country in recent weeks, though border arrests in New York are down this year compared to last year. 2 weeks ago, agents found 6 Indian nationals that had illegally crossed from Canada into the Clinton County town of Champlain. All 6 were taken into custody. Over Labor Day weekend, a 25-year-old American man with a felony warrant was arrested at the border in Champlain. He was turned over to state police. Agents also arrested a Native American woman at the border crossing in Messina for having a controlled substance. That same day, agents also apprehended a Canadian woman with a warrant out for her arrest. According to the latest federal data, Border Patrol agents in New York are arresting and apprehending about 66% fewer people than they were last summer. Believe it or not, New York now has a no cell phone in the schools mascot. What's it pay to walk around schools in a fuzzy suit? The New York Public News Network's John Campbell found out.
Everybody, Frankie!
Governor Hochul unveiled Frankie Focus at a middle school in Brooklyn last week with the help of the school principal. He's covered in shaggy neon green hair, and he's meant to tout the state's new ban on smartphones in public schools, which just went into effect. A spokesperson for the governor's office says Frankie will be played by a mix of staff volunteers and paid talent. For paid gigs, the actor inside the costume is getting $300 per event minus a 10% fee for a talent agency. That's according to a casting call from a couple weeks before Frankie's debut. The mascot's scheduled to show up at schools across the state through late next month. In Albany, I'm John Campbell for the New York Public News Network.
Volunteer numbers have been steadily declining across the United States for decades now, and that's made it hard for local fire departments. As a part of our series on volunteerism in the North Country, our news intern Richard Haller met with one longtime firefighter at his home in Malone.
I'm meeting Gary Spinner at his home in Malone with his wife Carol and daughter Amber. There are firefighter decorations and plaques sitting in their living room, and there's an axe displayed on a wall that says 40 years of service.
Yeah, I'm happy. My wife and family might not be when I get up from the kitchen table and go somewhere when supper's on the table, but...
For 4 decades, whenever a call comes in, morning, noon, or night, Spinner has had to rush out to fight a fire. His wife, Carol Spinner, says she doesn't mind.
We used to have to wait for supper for Dad when he had to go on a rescue call or a fire call, and I would not eat supper without the family. It's just the way it was.
We would eat everything.
Yeah, we would eat when Dad got home.
Spinner, who just turned 70, says he doesn't plan to stop anytime soon. He's from Constable, New York, and volunteered at the fire department there for about 5 years. Then he moved to Malone and has served its community as a call fireman ever since. Being a firefighter can be harsh work. Although your job is to help people, that also means you have to deal with tragedy. Spinner says he doesn't talk about some experiences.
Different car accidents and stuff like that. You see a lot of stuff, and I try to just forget about it. If you keep all that just rewinding in your mind, it's not good for you.
But Spinner also described times when they saved homes and lives, like a recent house fire.
They lost the garage, they lost the trailer. The boys went in and got it stopped before it got too far into the house.
They saved a pet boa constrictor, carrying it away from the flames.
So one of the guys carried that out, and the woman was quite happy,
They also saved their favorite Chinese restaurant, King's Walk, after its kitchen caught fire.
And Dad was up there in a bucket, right?
Yeah, in the ladder truck.
Like, spraying it down.
Doing fire calls means you have to stay calm and level-headed. Spinner says you can't rush in because that's how people get hurt. He says trust within your fire department is key.
You can't get along without people like that.
It's like a family.
Yeah.
Basically,
Big
it's like
family. We've been together, some of us, for 40, 50 years. You know what they're going to do when situations happen.
The state says that 75% of fire departments reported a decrease in their number of volunteers. The North Country's population is aging. Fewer young people are signing up.
It's getting harder and harder to get young people into it because young people have their job they got to do, and maybe you got another job. You got 2 jobs, and then you get a family, and it's hard. It's really hard to keep up.
So I asked Spinner how he manages to have the time and energy for it.
Some days I don't have the energy, but you don't let that bother you. You just keep going.
Carol Spinner has also noticed the need for more firefighters in Malone.
I mean, to go out there, there's a car crash or a house fire or somebody got sick at home, they need somebody to go take care of them. And they're not getting the volunteers like they used to. And that's very important.
We heard about Gary Spinner through NCPR's texting club asking for volunteers. It was Amber, Gary's daughter, who sent it in. Before I left the Spinner's home, I asked Amber why she wanted to share her dad's work.
He's gonna cry.
I'm just so proud of him. He's a very good example for a dad and a good example of a community member. And I'm a teacher, and I feel like I'm a good teacher because I saw what he's done my whole life.
Amber says her dad is a humble person and isn't the type to talk about himself. But she wanted to share the good things he's done for their community and hopes it inspires others to do good things too. For North Country Public Radio, I'm Richard Haller in Malone.
This story is part of NCPR's ongoing volunteerism series, which is highlighting the work that volunteers are doing all over our region. We have lots more of them on our website, ncpr.org. Thanks so much to everyone who has written in with ideas and suggestions for this series. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Eddie Lawrence of Saranac Lake and Dan Duggan of Lake Clear. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.